Welcome to Barbells, Business and Boobs, where we discuss navigating everyday life as lifters, business owners, and being a woman in a male-dominated industry. And we are back, bitches. Oh my God, it's been, Christy, when was the last time we recorded? Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't even know what day it is today. A long time.
Monday, October 20th. Yes, I know it was before, I want to say March because it was before I had knee surgery and before you were married.
I know. I feel like that was it feels like that was a month ago. That's so crazy. It's been so long. Like the year's almost over. This has definitely been the fastest year of my life. I don't know about you.
No, it has been. It's because I actually decorated for Halloween last night, finally. I love decorating and like getting my house ready. And I was like, wow, I feel really behind on life because as soon as these are done, I'm going to have to take them off to put Thanksgiving up. And it's like, I was thinking to myself, like, why do I stress out about decorating? Like, I was like, oh, I have family coming. And I'm like, it's still really important to me, but I feel like I was better at it before I had like a couple businesses to manage. So
Okay, but you also are like a couple, like 1 week post show too. So I feel like you're doing pretty good.
yeah, it's been, a post show, you just try to get back into the real world. I feel like it's almost more time consuming after because you have like stuff on your plate that you let go, and then you also still need to make sure that you're on your diet and like cardio. So yeah, but no, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow actually, which is crazy because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it was kind of just happened, but then it also kind of feels like a long time ago.
No, I definitely know that feeling because I mean, the time warp of this year has just been crazy, and I can't believe we're already in Halloween season. Which I don't have a costume. I haven't decorated. I bet you have like 4 costumes, and I bet you have like I'm like, how many glittery skulls and pumpkins do you have in the house right now?
A lot. Yeah, we have actually not too bad. For some reason we couldn't find one of our totes that had like pink pumpkins and stuff. But yeah, we have a decent amount. We didn't do anything outside. I ordered like a Grim Reaper off Amazon that should be in today because you'll laugh at this. I wanted to do, we have like a new Better Bodies drop, and I was like, how funny would it be if I had like a skeleton or something Halloweeny in the background, like while I'm trying on outfits. So hopefully that comes in today.
I will say like Halloween content's the most fun. You can be like spooky. I remember one year I carved out like it's just like was so funny. Just like what I was doing in the middle of my day was like carving out a pumpkin and then like carving out the eyes and stuff like that to put on my head to like make a lifting video with it. I'm like, yep, I'm in
I
my
remember
30s
that.
and this is what I'm doing.
I remember that. Yeah, do you and Gary have anything planned for Halloween?
No, we are always, well, so we're going to a wedding this weekend in Chicago. So,
Okay.
we're just we just got back from Iceland and then we have this trip. So we haven't really been able to like think about it. We honestly usually it ends up like on a lifting day. And so we're just at the gym and then like our dogs go crazy. So we're like, it sucks. Like this year, I really want to go out and have a table and like be there in the neighborhood for the kids and stuff like that. Especially as we have little neighbors who love to show us their little outfits. It's so cute. But like, you do not ring our doorbell. Like our lights are all like off. Like don't come to our house. Like our dogs will go crazy. Like that's just, if you want like a little scare, like that's what's going to happen. But no, this year we want to put out a table and like be out there. But we don't have any costumes or anything. Like every year our gym has something called Strengthtoberfest. So the day after Halloween, we're going to go there and Gary's going to do like an exhibition lift of like, they're doing max axle Hummer tire deadlifts, but I need to find a costume. The one of the Strengthtoberfest, I was a skeleton, and another one I was who is that from Matilda? What's her name? It's like the teacher
From Matilda. I know.
The one that's like
the mean one, yeah.
The mean one. I'm having a brain fart. It's Trunchbull.
I can't think of it. Yes, Trunchbull.
Because that was funny because I pulled like a heavy deadlift as Miss Trunchbull. So but this year I don't freaking know. We're just like,
I like that idea.
Busy. I'm just excited to go to Chicago, really. And I'm like Halloween, like whatever. What about you? I know you have a costume. You have to.
So I don't know. Anthony and I haven't had time to plan our costume. It's our first. We made sure that at the beginning of this year, we were like, we are celebrating Halloween because we both love Halloween. And it's our third Halloween together, but we haven't celebrated because last year we had my brother's wedding And we were in Salem, Massachusetts,
Oh my
of all
gosh.
places. Of all places, but we were like in between shows, and we had two back-to-back weddings, so it just didn't work out. And then the year before, we were newly dating, and I was actually away. Oh, we were together because I was away for like 2 weeks. I had a reporting gig in Virginia, and then I met you in Florida because the Olympia was a little bit later that year.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so we didn't celebrate. So we're definitely doing it this year. We already have an event that looks really cool. It's like a costume competition. So we have to figure out something. But that day,
Hmm.
so Fridays at 10:30 a.m., my friend and I lift together. And it's actually been really cool because I have never in my life had a female friend or anyone really that I like consistently lifted with. I can't wait for you to meet her because she is like on we laugh because someone said we'd be good friends because she schedules everything and she is like on it. I mean, she has a couple businesses, she has a couple kids, she is just like on it. So
I didn't know she had
her
kids.
she has two kids.
Wow.
Yeah, she's bad. She's also 47.
See, I didn't know that either. So, I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's like I already know who you're talking about. It's like now it's a mystery person. You haven't said her name yet, but
Yeah,
obviously,
Jen.
I've seen her online and on a few like different things like about like content things like on YouTube. Like big YouTubers have done like content with her and a few other bodybuilders, but it's been really fun. But yeah, it makes sense you guys get because all I know from her is like how she trains, right? So she seems like she trains really hard. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably why you guys, get along in the gym because it's hard to like, because you be friends with someone, but if they like don't have the same training style as you, like
Yeah, I know
it's
exactly.
hard.
Yeah, her name's Jenna Guire. We definitely have to have her on the podcast at some point. She's just, there's not many women.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you, Meg, who we've talked about, there's not a lot of women that I usually feel like inspired by. And she's just like a breath of fresh air. So it's been really fun. But, anyways, I went on a tangent. She got me a surprise Halloween costume because we realized we're lifting on Halloween. So we're going to dress up. And then after our lift that day, we're gonna do some like pumpkin. I'm gonna buy like some mini
Yes.
pumpkins and
Yes.
I'm gonna teach her how to like lift them like a stone. So we have like a whole day
Oh
planned.
my gosh. You
So
guys have to, what I've done with a client before is like squeezing them like a watermelon.
yeah, we're gonna try that too.
Oh,
I'm,
you're
I'm
gonna do that.
scared. I'm
It's
scared.
hard. Yeah.
I've heard that. Yeah, she said she popped her knee when she did it with a watermelon, but pumpkins are easier to squeeze, I
I
guess.
feel, I don't, I it's hard because had like some smaller ones, not too small because the smaller ones are really hard to do, but like with my client and they were fine. I don't think the watermelons are that hard, but yeah, I feel like you could definitely like strain something doing that,
Yeah. We're gonna try.
but
I think
that's
it's crazy that
fun.
I've never tried with all the
I
stupid
I
lifting
know
stuff
I
I
want to
do.
go.
But yeah, I've never tried.
Oh my gosh, I need to schedule a trip to go to Vegas and like do funny things with
Yes.
you. Like it would be
Yes, you
fun.
do. Yeah, you definitely do. So anyway, so that's Halloween. And yeah, so I guess I went to your wedding. That was very fun. It was such a
Yeah.
blur. I feel like it was such a
I
blur.
know.
I think I
I
had surgery
know.
like what, 3 weeks before that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Yeah, 3 weeks before that. But yeah, what I guess we didn't really like do a recap of my wedding. It was a blur for me too. It's like it
Yeah, I
was
want to hear.
something like out of like my comfort zone too, of like having all the attention, being like very bridal. Our families met for the first time like that weekend. And then I'm having all these friends who like I love to spend time with and like hang out with all come in town. Like we have people from all over the US like come and you don't really get to spend time with them. So I'm kind of like, you kind of like feel guilty, right? But that's a very like normal thing everyone says about your wedding is like, you don't really see anyone, you don't really get to eat the food. You're kind of like just like busy, but like it really went really smoothly and it was perfect. And I think like the most fun part or like one of the coolest parts was it was outside and of course it was like oh no, it's gonna rain.
Oh yes, that's
And
my favorite part.
yeah, and it kind of drizzled a little bit before. So our pictures was a little bit like drizzly. And then as our wedding started at 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., it was totally clear. And then our wedding ended at 10 p.m. And that's where we did our exit. And as soon as we drove away, the biggest like boom of thunder and lightning, like it sounded scary. Like it was like dangerous. And then like downpour, like the most rain I've like ever, I mean, not ever seen, but like matching the most rain that I've ever seen at one time, like a hurricane. And so we're all kind of like stuck under the under like the gazebo for a while, but it was like fun, like but it was just like perfect timing. Like, wow, we got really
Yeah.
lucky because like we wanted our wedding to be outside. The venue was really pretty, and but yeah, now it's over. It's crazy. And then I'm married now, which makes me feel like an old lady almost. Like I feel like I'm like not really an old lady, but like I kind of feel like I'm still too young to be married. I'm like I think I feel like I'm still 20 years old, but
That's
it's
funny. No, your
crazy.
wedding, it really was. I remember like you were getting ready in the car, like walking down the aisle again with Gary to go in the car to like drive away, and then you weren't even back yet, I think, when it started like pouring out. So
No,
we all went under the gazebo. And one of my favorite parts, it was because I think at that point, like some people had left the wedding, so it was just maybe like half the party was left.
right.
And I remember like Gary's brother came out of nowhere with like a bunch of food, like more food. I think it was like pizza or something. I can't remember.
Oh my
Right? That was
gosh.
yeah.
I don't remember.
He was funny. But yeah, that was I thought your wedding was really fun. Now how so I feel like we're kind of similar. I'm not married yet, but you've lived with Gary for a number of years. You guys were stuck in quarantine together, so you had
Yeah.
time where you weren't apart. Does being having the label of being married, does it change anything?
That's a good, really good question because I think a few years ago, since we were already living together and acted, we're a family unit basically. We own property together, all those kind of things. It was kind of like, why even do we need to be legally married? What does that mean? And it wasn't till a couple of years ago where it was kind of like the like aha moment of like, hey, like no, like that means that is important to us, and like we're ready to like do that. And you know, it doesn't feel any different now. For sure, it still honestly hasn't really set in. Probably because we've like been like that for a long time, but it does feel good. It's like I feel like um, for me, it's like a sign of like healing almost that I'm able to be like, I'm a wife, I have a husband. Like, I don't know if that
I
makes
do.
sense for someone
No,
who
it
maybe has
makes
like
sense.
pushed a lot of people away or like seen maybe almost being like taking care of or being a loving leadership is like a sign of weakness almost, or maybe being afraid of that or whatever, but it still doesn't feel real, but it still feels like um I feel like we've gotten closer. Like we've always been close, but me and Gary have gotten closer like since then, but also it's not because we're married. It's just because like we just get closer and closer, the more time goes on. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really weird, but I get like I think I'm a late bloomer, but it's like growing up, but it hasn't like changed anything. It's just and it's still weird. I still feel like I'm playing pretend if I'm like on the phone with like insurance or something. I'm like my husband, and like it sounds like really to me almost like I'm bragging.
Yeah, no,
How
I
it sounds,
totally understand that.
especially like when event one day when you're like my fiance. That's the worst one.
Yeah, I feel like fiance just has a weird,
My
I don't know, it feels like
fiance.
stuck up. It feels like the word
It
fiance feels
does.
stuck up.
It
I don't know
does.
why.
And but husband still feels stuck up to me.
It's so
Um,
funny. But
it's
so,
so weird, but I just because
do you ever accidentally slip up and say like fiance instead of husband or boyfriend, or like does that
no, but sometimes I do
that's good.
forget. Like I'm like, oh, husband. I'm like, oh. But like a lot of people thought we were already married, so I'm like, hey, don't take that away from me. We got to be like. But I will say although I was like really really stressed about like the wedding planning and stuff like that, just because like, and not because I really like cared that like anyway, I didn't have a vision like when I was growing up for like what it would be like, but like I am a little bit more of a perfectionist and like also a little bit obsessive about things like how like make it like finding the exact thing that I want and stuff. But there's certain things I didn't really care about. But yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with that. But it was
Didn't you decide
like
that day to do something differently with flowers in your hair, or didn't you decide how to do your
yeah,
hair that
yeah,
day?
yeah. I like putting like that week I like bought a veil and decided that like because at first I wasn't going to do a veil. And so that week, or I ordered a veil on, I was like, maybe I want a veil. And I ordered, or at least a veil to take some pictures in with like, like the veil cover and stuff and be like dramatic. So I just ordered one for like $100 from Nordstrom, and I put it on with my dress, like in this room. I was like, I like it. Like this actually works. Like, cause I was like so stressed about what I wear in my hair. I was like, wear like a headpiece or like some clips. And then I was like, oh, well, I could actually put some of the flowers in my hair, because I like love my flower ladies. Like I became really close with them. I met them at a farmer's market here. Like they grow their own flowers at their farm. And I was like, well, they could probably just, throw that into my flower package, like add in a couple more flowers for my hair. And it was just like, oh, that worked. And when it all was over with, I was like, there's so many things I should not have worried about at all. Like I was so, but the added stress of like just also like the family dynamics and stuff like that, of like trying to make everyone feel included, or like how are these people gonna get along and all that stuff. Like I was like worried about that, and like everything ended up okay, like good.
Yeah.
But it was like especially because I'm here and our families are other places.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot. And then my 97-year-old grandpa came, and I was like nervous about that. I'm like, how is he gonna like survive? And but it was great. And then we got to go on our honeymoon. It was just fun, So and Gary had like the best time ever. I was like, so that was cool, because I did, he helped a lot, especially at the end, but with all the little stuff, I was like, really into like doing the planning part, because he mostly, he like planned our whole honeymoon, because like he plans all of our trips. So yeah, but no, nothing really has changed. I
Okay.
guess I do
Are
feel
you
a little bit more
happy?
secure, with the commitment, right?
Yeah. Are you at the end of the day, are you happy you had, like, I would say you had like a pretty medium to big size wedding? Are you happy you did that with how stressful it was?
Yeah.
Because that's something I always worry about. It's like, how am I going to plan a
hmm
wedding on top of businesses
hmm
and training?
No, so it's a lot. And going back, and I was like really stressed out going into it, because I had the Arnold. I didn't know that I was like also having these underlying health problems that were like making me feel really like bad. And then also Tootie was dying at that
Yeah.
time. And so it was like
Right
a lot of things
before.
that right before, a lot of things like building up, that I was just like almost like I was in fight or flight mode already. There were so many times I really enjoyed during the process. Like my family had like a little like bachelorette party thing. We got to do a little bridal showers. Like it was fun to do those like cutesy. I didn't think I'd get into it, but like wearing a little white dress and stuff like that was really fun. Um, but Gary, we're kind of a couple of people would think your guys are going to go elope. You're going to go to the Italian Dolomites, get some cool pictures taken, mountains in the background, just you guys, like I feel like that would be very us. But I'm really glad that we did, because now it just made me really think of like the importance of family, and then also getting all your friends together. And Gary told me one time, like yeah, like maybe because it kind of seems like a waste of money. I think I was really good on the budget. Our wedding didn't cost that as much as it. Like it's not like it looked really fancy. It was very just like in
Oh, it was
between,
beautiful.
right? But
I
it
thought it was like a
was,
fairy tale. Your venue was like a fairy tale.
yeah, we got lucky. We got really lucky with that, but it really was not that expensive, but a lot more than I'd want to spend on one night, one party. Um, is this wasteful? But I don't regret it at all, because Gary one time told me, and this might be probably a common phrase, but like people really only get together for weddings and funerals, like families. And actually, recently, exactly 3 months after our wedding, my grandpa died, and the one who was at my wedding in the wheelchair. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, and Gary's uncle also died a few weeks later, and he wasn't able to come to our wedding because he was sick. But we did see his like family and stuff like that, and just made me think too. It's like, I had my sister's speeches, my dad's speech. My aunt is the one who married us. Gary's family was all there and got to, together. There was even even interesting like things where maybe estranged people got back together, or not got back together, but
Oh,
like mended things. So, it was just, I think it's cool to have like something where everyone would be like happy and have fun. And it was, I think for me, I was, nervous having all those people. You had to probably spend a bunch of money and a bunch of time. It wasn't convenient to get here from Vegas to Greenville, and I'm asking like everyone to do that because everyone's from everywhere. So I was nervous about that. um but I think, I'm like, well, the YOLO thing, and like you're only like, it's almost like how when I was in high school and I skipped prom. I don't really regret that, honestly, but like I don't want to
I
just
didn't
keep
know that.
skipping, right? Like, yeah, I never went to
I
prom.
never
So
knew
like,
that about you. Oh my God.
so right. So it's like why, like, I don't just like keep skipping these things because I'm too busy, or I'm competing or anything like that. Like I need, like, so have a wedding. We really made it our own. Like, it was not religious or anything. We like designed all the ceremony script and stuff like that. So just making it our own and stuff, and it was really great. So it was definitely worth it. I definitely say, if you're on the fence, do it, but also don't get so wrapped up into things. If you're worried about budget and stuff like that, it really does not need to be like, you don't need like the like detailed napkins or like any crazy like we didn't have a photo booth or anything. I don't think anyone noticed, like, so,
No, I didn't. It's not something I really
right,
think about. Yeah.
right. So
I
there's
actually
certain
have
things
more
that people aren't
fun.
going to remember. Yeah.
I have more fun because I've been to a handful of weddings over the past couple of years, and I've been to some really, really fancy
Yeah.
ones. Like,
Yeah.
how all out Italians, like,
Right.
especially I have a couple of younger
Yeah.
cousins that got married in their 20s, so it's like a fairy tale, and it was so there was so much, like,
Right.
Sunday bars, just food trucks,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, I feel like I was busy looking at things that I didn't get to sit down and talk to people. And like at your wedding, it was really cool because I really only knew you and Gary. But
Right.
then, I feel like I developed like friendships because,
Yeah.
there wasn't like so much distraction.
Right.
And it was like, how many people were at your wedding?
100, and that was so hard. There's so many people that like I care about, that I'm friends with, that I would like have loved to have been there. Like, I can, like, there's so many people in the lifting community, um and there's so like there's just so many people, all these clients I have and stuff like that. But I'm like, and that was hard not to invite certain people, but hopefully they understood, like, 100 people is still small when like 50 of those are Gary's family. So it's like,
Yeah,
he's,
I know.
so, like, that's just how it was. um
Oh, did
but
you
yeah, it
change
was a
your last
good
name?
number. No,
Okay, I was
I
going to ask
didn't.
that. Yeah. Okay.
But I still might.
Yeah.
But I'm attached, and also I feel like there's um no rush. I can make that decision if that, you know,
Yeah.
ever
Whatever.
happens. But also, I was like, I'm not going to do it before we go to Iceland either because of the passport.
Oh yeah, I've had that conversation before, and that's something that's really important to Anthony. So I'm going to, but I'm gonna hyphenate it because it's not like I can change my whole. I don't want to change like B Dimes, my brand. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna hyphenate it, and I'm excited. Yeah, we like talked about it, and he kind of made it known like that was important to him.
Hmm.
So I'm on board. I've known people that have done both though, so I think it's just
Hmm.
kind of whatever you want. But no, I
Yeah.
was happy you had a wedding. It was really fun. And I think I even told you, like, because I've always gone back and forth, like, do I want a wedding? And then Anthony said the same thing Gary did, where people only get together at funerals or weddings, really. And exact same situation as you and Gary. It's like we live somewhere else, and our families are in two different parts of the country, so it would be a very, very, very similar situation. So I was kind of pondering, like, maybe we should, but it also makes me want to have more time because before, and some people think he is my husband. Like, we say husband and wife a lot, especially in Vegas, just when you're out. I feel like in Vegas compared to other parts of the country, when you're out, you get almost like more respect if you are husband and wife. It's weird because I don't experience that when I'm in the Northeast as much, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something
Well,
here
maybe
when
because
you're
boyfriend and
out.
girlfriend, there might be a little bit more casual. Like if you're just like, going out to a club with like the girl that you're always with or something rather than like actually in a relationship. Maybe people's perception of just like girl,
Yeah.
also like girl, like when me and Gary went to like I like lived with him for like 4 years. Like, why would he be like my girlfriend? Like, it's just like weird.
I think it might be because a lot of times in Vegas with like gambling and poker tournaments, a lot
Right.
of people will like hire girls to come
Yeah.
with them to events.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of just a girlfriend thing. So it seems to just be more of a respect thing. So I feel like people don't even know if we're married or not sometimes. And like oftentimes, like when I'm at expos and stuff, I'll actually put my ring on my left hand because I don't get bothered as much. And it's funny that you said you felt weird when you were on the phone, like saying husband, because I say it all the time when, like, I think Fridays, like, some guy was harassing me at, like, Smith's Pharmacy, and he was like, "Are you interested?" And I was like, "No, I have a husband, and I'm not interested." So I never felt secure enough to do that with anyone except Anthony, but I always say that. I'm like, what's the difference? Like, and he actually said that to me when we first met because he wasn't sure if he ever wanted to get married, and I was kind of on the same page. And he's like, I'm not going to treat you any differently than I do now when you're my wife. Because I think people sometimes think there's like a glimmer of hope that someone might change. He's like, this is who you're getting. And I say the same thing. I'm like, I'm still going to be like, I don't think anything's going to
Yeah.
change. Except I tease him, except I'll be like, well, I'll have a really big sparkly ring because you're getting me the biggest one. Like, I'll just tease
Oh
him
my
stuff like
gosh, I
that.
love it. No, I love it
But
because like
yeah.
that is true though. I mean, like we haven't changed. You think of like all of a sudden 5 years, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a Stepford wife. Like, no, you knew what you're getting.
Yeah. So that was the
You
big
know
thing
what?
for
You know
you.
I can't cook.
I feel like you can. You make your little
I
cute.
try.
Yeah. Oh,
I,
and then your butternut squash last night. Your vegetable of
it's
the day looked so
so.
good.
It is
I
so
love butternut squash.
good.
Yes, I love
It's
butternut squash.
so freaking good. We go through so many vegetables though. It's very annoying. Like I'm constantly I cooked vegetables, but it's like, oh, chopping zucchinis and just tossing in seasonings like not hard. I
So
do the easy
you know what
stuff.
I do? I don't know if you want
What?
to do this, but for vegetables, like yes, sometimes I'll make them fresh like you do, but a lot of times I'll just order the frozen ones from Costco. And when I'm meal prepping, I'll take them out of the frozen container, throw them in my meal prep for the day. That way they defrost, and by the time I heat up my meal
Yeah.
prep or whatever, it's like perfect. So I don't know, just like a random. I
No,
feel
that's
like now
definitely
that
easier. Yeah, that's
we go
definitely
through
probably the
chemistry,
easier way.
but yours
Man,
looks
I
better.
just
Oh, that's you're such a good wife, prepping all the
yeah, look at
veggies.
me with my I can chop a zucchini.
Oh my god,
I always
so
have to. I still
funny.
have to ask Gary like how to chop certain vegetables. I'm like, okay, so the onion you said you want it diced, so it's like this. Like what? He's like, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Recently on our trip to Iceland, we were joking around that I'm like his Tamagotchi that he just has to keep alive because it's also he's like always like having to feed me or like making sure I'm like not lost. But I'm like, how did I get like this? Because I've lived alone for like 10 years. I lived in big cities and stuff like that. But I think I just got really lucky that I survived. I'm just
Same.
a Tamagotchi.
I think about that same exact thing you said.
Do you know what a Tamagotchi is?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, this is gonna be really weird if you don't know what Tamagotchi is. You're just like, yeah, totally.
No, that's really funny. I think about the same shit though. I'm like, how did I live alone for so long? Because I think it was just literally just yesterday. I like wrote down everything I had to do yesterday. And then I couldn't get to all of it. And I was like panicking. And Anthony came in the room and he's like, okay, what's wrong? He's like, what can I help you with? I was like, you can't help me with anything. Because I need to like write these thank yous and I need to decorate and I need to do this laundry. And I have a podcast that I have to be at 7 p.m. and then this and this and this. And he was like, okay. He's like, well, let's look at it and see what we can eliminate. So we ended up eliminating, I was going to film like a try on haul, but my hair was still wet and I didn't have to be ready till later. So he's like, okay, just do that. Like, when is it due? And I was like, okay, it's not due till the 27th. So he helps me sort out where before I lived with
Hmm.
someone. And sorry, I don't know how I got on this tangent. I don't really know.
No, it's like
before
no,
I,
it's good for someone to check your priorities or like the figure out like what is a priority too, because
well,
especially for us, it's
yeah,
easier for us to get overwhelmed with those things because I think it's also our personalities because
well, but
you and I are
yeah.
similar with like with that. Actually, some um Yeah. And without like, I feel like without a proper plan, because like it's good that we write things down too. Because my therapist said that like your mind's always trying to make you remember. So like you're like scared that you're gonna forget like what you have to do and stuff like that. So when you write stuff down, like it's out of your head and you don't have to be like constantly remembering it. But if you're like going to, it kind of is gonna like almost reactivate if you don't get those things done, and you're gonna have to like redo the list, right? Or revise the plan. But sometimes it's hard when things aren't going to plan. So having
Yeah.
someone who can be like rational and be like all you in a like someone who's like like is a can give you a solution when like you're like frazzled is like super important.
Yeah, exactly. Because if it wasn't for him, I remember because I've been like this my whole life. I would just stay up until I got everything done. So sometimes it'd be like 1:30 a.m. and I would still be working. So I'm really happy that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
I remember that. And like that's
yeah,
it. That's the thing too. Is like having someone to balance you. Like okay, like I'm like oh well their work day's done. I guess I could have an end of a work day.
yeah, for sure. So that was your big thing. I definitely want to get into some of our health issues after, but I'll kind of just quickly recap the bodybuilding show. So
Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
a funny story, kind of could have been disastrous that no one knows about. I'm going to talk. Oh, Anthony knows about it, obviously, and like a few close friends.
Uh
But
huh.
I was pretty damn nervous this whole prep that I wasn't going to be able to physically get in the venue to compete because it was at Resorts World in Las Vegas, which is a big casino here. I don't know. Have you been? I think it was brand new when you came to
Yeah,
visit.
I think the Olympia's been there before.
Yeah.
I've been there
No, no,
before. I've
no.
been through there for expos.
Okay, yeah, no, it was the first time the Olympia was there, and they're not hosting it next year. But I've been there a couple times, and 2 years ago on 4th of July, I was in a little incident where someone that I was with got into a little bit of trouble in the club, and we all had to leave. And we got it's like a joke in Vegas that when you live here, you're gonna be trespassed from somewhere. That's what it's called, and it just means they take a picture of your license and you can't come back. I thought it was only for 1 year. So I had gone back a few times for dinner at the club, etc. No problem. And then one time I was in there, maybe this is like my fifth time, like a year later, going in. And one time a security guard walks up to me and he's like, ma'am, can I see your ID? So I'm like, yeah, sure, here you go. And he was like, they have facial recognition. So I don't know how they didn't catch me previous times I went in there. I guess I got lucky. I think when they have big events, I think T-Pain was there that night. So for big events, they have like extra security staff, etc. And he was like, "I'm sorry to do this, but you've been trespassed and it hasn't been lifted." And I was like, "Oh, it hasn't been lifted. Like, what do I do?" And he's like, "Well, I'm not going to embarrass you, but I do have to ask you to leave the property." And I was like, "Okay, well, I have an event here in like 3 months. Like, what do I do?" And he gave me an email to reach out to. So I reached out to my friend at Metro and he laughed. He's like, "Oh yeah, this happens all the time." He's like, "You don't have a record, you're fine. I'll write you a letter of recommendation." And then I sent them an email and said, like, "Hey, I'm competing October 5th. I need to get this lifted. Like, what can I do?" They didn't respond. So I was like, okay, I was calling. They were like, "Yep, you just have to wait. Like, it'll be lifted, but you just have to wait. We don't have a timeline." So then I was getting nervous. I was like 2 weeks out. So I went there. I was like walking around looking for security, couldn't find anyone. Like, I'm walking around perfectly fine. Nothing's happening, but I'm still like, I don't like this stress over me. Like, am I going to be kicked out that day? What's going to happen? So I went up to a security guard. I had all my paperwork with me. He walkie talkied someone and he was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, ma'am. Like, you're still on that list and there's nothing we can do about it." And I was like, "Okay, well, can they hurry up?" Like, I've been waiting for a couple months now. And he's like, "Nope, sorry. It's just like a waiting game. We have like thousands of people on that list. It's just, we go in order." So like, okay. So then I contacted a lawyer and the lawyer was like, "Oh yeah, this always happens." He was like, "It's not worth us fighting for you." He's like, "What I would recommend is just going in that day, competing." He's like, "Wear a mask." He's like, "You can't be arrested. The worst they'll do is tell you to leave." So I was like, all right. So
Oh my gosh.
I went. So that night I had to get, so I compete on a Tuesday morning. Monday evening, I was going to get my tan. So I'm really trying not to get stressed because stress, especially when you're that level of lean, like breathing the wrong way can put a pound of water on you. So I'm like really trying not to stress. I'm like, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to work out. I walk in, I had a hoodie on, I had my hair in like one of those silk bonnets, and then I had a mask on.
Oh my
So
gosh.
So I was tanned, fine. I left the next day. I had to be there at I got there at like 5 a.m. because my second spray tan was at 5:30 a.m. I started competing at 7:30. So it was fine. And then luckily, the area we were competing in wasn't actually in Resort Worlds. It was
Oh, good.
in like a tent that they set up just for the Olympia outside of it. So technically, I don't know what the law would have been. I don't know if I was still on property, but I was being so careful. Like when I was waiting for the door. So after I got tanned, I do my own hair and makeup just because like I don't want to be bothered for anyone else doing it. Like, I know how to do it
Right.
myself. So I was just doing my hair and makeup in like a bathroom. And then I put like a blanket on and my hair bonnet and my mask back on. And once I got through prejudging, I was like, okay, I can relax, thank God. So that's kind of a
Oh
funny
my
prep
gosh.
story. Yeah. So
Like it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission is what I always remind myself. So it's like just go in there and if you get caught, just say sorry.
well, and Anthony was so he didn't tell me till after I was done competing how nervous he was because he was trying to play it off
Really?
like, yeah, he was so nervous. He said he was like, I didn't know what I was gonna do because I knew how upset you would have been because I was thinking about it because I was like, if I get kicked out, like that is so I mean, I worked my ass off for this. Like I want to
Right.
get my pro card. Are they gonna like I just had all these negative thoughts going through my head. And it's like also I was embarrassed because like not that competing is my job, but I have, sponsors that are relying on me to compete and stuff. So I was thinking ahead, like, what am I gonna do? Just tell them that like I was in an altercation a couple years ago and our whole table got had to leave. Like, what do I do? So luckily that didn't happen. It was fine. The day went pretty smooth. I personally like this prep. Every prep is so different, but this prep is a lot different because I didn't feel as emotionally connected with it. Like usually when I'm competing, I take time every day to like journal and like you know how
Yeah.
I am like manifest, and it just kind of felt like I don't know. This is just something I do now. Like it doesn't feel as hard as it once does. Like there's definitely moments in prep that are very hard. You're very fatigued, but it just kind of felt like I guess I had more experience. Just like in strongman, the more you compete, like an Atlas stone, once you pick it up 1,000 times, like it's gonna get easier. And I felt a little more confident in my posing because that was something that like just every day my back double bicep for years would just be an issue. And for the first time, I don't know if you like noticed, but I could finally like open up my back and not pinch it, which was such a big accomplishment for me because I've always had a pretty good back, but I didn't know I wasn't showing it right. So that was exciting. And I felt like because I took the off season and acted like a bodybuilder for the first year, because I tried to act like a bodybuilder before, but whenever I started gaining too much body fat or whenever eating in a surplus became like a job, I would resort back to tendencies I had when I was younger, which was to, okay, let me do more cardio. And I really, really committed for a few months to being in that surplus. It wasn't until like 3 weeks before knee surgery I was like, okay, you know what? I don't want to go into knee surgery at the heaviest body weight I've ever been because I got up to like 192 and it was hard. Like I hate to say eating is hard because I never understood when people said this because I always
Hmm.
had such an appetite. But when you're eating every 2.5 hours, like 300 grams of rice, 5 bowls of cereal on top of all your protein, like it does become you feel sluggish.
Right.
It's just hard. Like it was hard to even drink like my regular gallon and a half of water because I was like, I don't want to put any more volume in my stomach. But I wanted to see if it paid off, which it did. And I was really happy with the look I brought for how relatively easy prep was. And, Anthony and him coaching me, it's like only going to get better as I go. And I also feel like because I was less emotional with it, sometimes I would act in the past with prep. I would have this attitude like this might be the last time I can do it. But
Right.
now bodybuilding feels pretty like now I see it as something that like the women that are doing good are older. Like it is a longevity game. Like I'm not going to put the muscle I want on in a year. Like it's going to
Right.
take a couple like a long time, like your whole life. Like all the people that were top of the Olympia are like in their 40s. And it was just kind of cool to see, like, I guess I adopted as like something I can do all the time. And yeah, so that was exciting. Obviously, I wasn't that upset I didn't get my pro card because I thought I would be, but then when I reflected back on it, I personally I hope this isn't rude, like the girl that won looked amazing. She had more muscle than me, but I had better conditioning, no doubt about that, and I had better posing. So that to me was just like a win because that's what I wanted. And I also feel like nothing changes because to do my pro debut, I was going to put on a little bit more tissue anyways. The only thing it changed was I used to aspire to be in the bodybuilding division. Like, but now after that Olympia and seeing the pros, like I can do both women's physique and bodybuilding as an amateur and just see which one I get my pro card in. But as a pro, I'm going to do physique or maybe even figure because my overall structure just looks, when I was looking at the pros, I was like, I look like a pro figure girl right now. I have long muscle bellies. I have long legs. I don't have like the round, big muscle bellies. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a foot taller than like every single bodybuilder. So that was kind of eye opening, but also kind of exciting because it made me feel like I don't have that much to go further to go. Because like if I wanted to be a pro
Right.
bodybuilder, I probably had like 40 pounds of muscle to put on. But as like women's physique, I'm pretty much right there. So that was exciting. And then every time you do a prep, you're able to get better conditioning. It's just like something like my lines in my legs, even when I was almost 200 pounds this past season, like my legs stayed pretty lean, which was cool because my legs before like just were the last thing to come in. So I was overall pretty happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that also goes to show too. It's like you're kind of figuring out where you belong, like too, because like you haven't been doing bodybuilding that long, and so as you develop, it's like why would you try to like fit yourself into a box that maybe isn't the best for you? So like figuring out like what that is and what you love too is important. And also I think it's really cool that like because I feel like we of course we both went through like the newbie phase of like strongman where you're like digging deep and like I need this so bad, and then like you kind of get out of that and you're like, okay, another competition, like how can I improve? Like you're not like, of course you care a lot deeply, but like you're not having to like revert back to like those almost like I guess like coping mechanism or like what coping mechanisms you need to like get you through it almost because like it's not as
Yeah.
mentally challenging, and
Yes.
that it's
Yes.
gonna be okay,
I
and you have more
also,
of that
yeah.
experience. You're not like sweating the small stuff, like you don't like because before you were even scared to pose on stage and now you're not,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Yeah.
like if you're thinking about that, so that's really good too. So like you went through like the newbie stage of bodybuilding but you're out of it obviously, like now you're like, oh, like I'm I have all these competitions behind me and experience now.
Yeah, and it feels more feasible. Like every athlete, whatever sport, when they're chasing a pro card, I don't even like to think of it now as chasing. It's more just like I'm working towards it. Like I have no
Hmm.
doubt it's going to happen. It's just I gotta put the time in. It doesn't seem like I'm bringing like this like headstrong Pipple like mentality
Right.
that I used to have. Like it doesn't seem like it just seems more feasible because before when I was chasing athletic success, I would be very one-sided and like cut people off and I had to achieve it. Now it just kind of seems like just just easier. Like again, I'm not saying it's easier. Competing is never easy. You're going to have days but it just overall seems more feasible and like I can fit it into my life. And also it doesn't really seem like I have something to prove. I feel like I've already proved myself in brands. It's really cool because I'll get like modeling jobs and like people reaching out, and half the time the companies are like, "Wait, you're not a pro? We thought you were. Like you look like a pro." So I feel like it doesn't matter as much for business as I thought it would, and having a pro card doesn't really change anything, to be honest. Like so, I'll just enjoy getting there. My plan going forward is because people are like, "Oh, you're gonna do nationals in December," and it's like, no, because I try to approach everything in the healthiest way I can. And I had a period this prep at 9 days out, which is like insane. it kind of messed with my head because I was like, am I not lean enough? And then I would be like, no, I'm lean. So instead of rushing to go to nationals, which would be in December, I'd already have to be back in prep, and I've been dieting since like beginning of July. I was like, no, it's probably healthier to reverse out of my diet correctly, and I'm gonna see. There's something called USA's here in the end of July in Vegas. Because at this point, like I'm only doing. Luckily, I only pick big shows and I place at them, so that automatically qualifies me for the other big shows. Because I'm not gonna at this point, like again, I'm not a pro, but I don't feel comfortable going to like a local bodybuilding show. Like I know I would, it just
Right.
wouldn't be fun for me. So I'm only gonna do international or national shows, and that's the next big one. Will be in July, besides nationals in December. So if I put on enough size, that gives me like 9 months. So realistically, though, I'll be reversing until the end of this year. I'm starting to push training again, but it's still like the female body is so sensitive. I can't really push training and put size on probably until like January. So we'll see if I can put
And
enough size on.
what's your kind of like marker indicator that you're ready to push training for you?
For me, I can tell when I don't feel like I'm in fight or flight and all my like hunger cues are back down to normal, because right now they're still all messed up. Like I'll be starving and then not hungry, and then I'll feel exhausted but then I can't sleep because my CNS is still kind of shot. So
Mhm.
obviously I get blood work done. I'm doing that tomorrow. I can kind of already tell, like I know my progesterone is going to be low. I can just tell from how I feel because my libido is down. Sleep is kind of sporadic, but I
Mhm.
also don't like to take progesterone. So it makes me like feel pretty shitty. So
Have you ever
I think it's, yeah.
so do you try natural ways to boost it at all, or you just kind of it comes back up as you feed yourself
Yes,
more?
I take pregnenolone in my Jumpstart, which I'm taking Jumpstart right now, which has a mix of pregnenolone, DIM, um, and DHEA, and I also take test a very low dose of that, which will help it anyways. But I don't really want to be adding other stuff in. I feel like less is more, just because you're already kind of
Hmm.
messing with your body a little bit.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying the Vitex like chaseberry right now to
Jasper is
boost
really
in
good.
that
Yep.
chaseberry, but we'll see.
That probably
I'll
has
get my blood work later.
maca root in it too. I think sometimes it's combined with that.
I think mine's just well, maybe it is. I gotta look, but we'll see. But I'm always like, oh, I tried the natural ways first, but who knows? Maybe I'll get on progesterone too
Yeah, let me
eventually.
know. Progesterone is so good for females.
Hmm.
It increases like life expectancy, mood, but I've tried like the smallest doses
Hmm.
of it, and people say I'm not riding it out enough because it can take like a couple months. But I always just feel bloated and terrible on it, so I just don't.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to like
Yeah,
help boost GABA and
GABA.
help you sleep and all that stuff. Um, so I'm like, I definitely know I have low progesterone, but um, yeah, because I think because also you don't like progesterone, I'm like scared to like try the actual hormone, but
No, I mean you should try it. I have clients that love it and friends that like it's changed their life, but
mhm.
I just
what
yeah.
do they love about it?
They say
Like
it
how's it
helps sleep and
change?
mood. Sleep and mood
Hmm.
usually.
They have a
I have
lot
a
of
friend.
like bloating or weight fluctuations because of it, or water retention or anything, or
No,
just now.
no. I seem to be one of the only people that gets the fluid retention with it. It's weird.
Hmm. Because I have
So
fluid retention, so I'm like, how do I get rid of it? I'm like, is it this? Is it this? Like the female body is just crazy, and the way it responds to stress is very crazy, and everything intertwines. It's like, and I get that everyone's like very individual, but yeah, I mean, I guess for our listeners here, it's like blood work's very important. Knowing your body's very important. Not just what like reading some on Instagram saying like, oh, like do you have this? You should take this. Like for example, for me, I was thinking about taking DIM because I'm a little more estrogen dominant because my progesterone's so low, but my estrogen's pretty low too. It's just so it wouldn't be great, very great for me to lower it very more. I'm trying to boost my progesterone. So
yeah.
it's different for everyone. So like, like someone might have too much estrogen circulating or the metabolism bad, then bring in some DIM that'll help lower it.
Well,
Right. So it's like
it's
that.
so interesting.
It is so individual. So, you know, it's crazy. I feel like I've learned so much about the body in the last few months
You
too
know what's
about it. And I'm like, that is just, it's confusing. It can
yes.
get confusing and things change too. Like you will change over the next couple months with your hormones and like with your cortisol going down and all that stuff. Like things are going to change. It's crazy.
Something that drives me absolutely crazy because I can't find it on any forums, like no female can relate. It's just a me thing. My lower back. So the last 6 weeks of prep, every day, obviously, I've struggled with my back for like the past decade. Every morning, I always have I have a little bit of arthritis and pain just from the disc, but it's like it cracks, not like a crack when you move your back. I can literally breathe. Like even right now, if I move my pelvis, my whole lower back it's like a knuckle. It just like cracks. The last 6 weeks of prep, when I take Novadex to reduce estrogen, and everyone else, females on Novadex, complain about back pain, joint pain because then their estrogen gets too low. Clearly, my estrogen is so high because I feel so amazing on Novadex. It's hard because it's the last bit of prep, so like my mind and my body are tired. It's like hard to like move fast, but my back just feels so good, and like I stop it right after the show, and I can feel my estrogen coming back because I made Anthony feel it. I was like, look, the back is back to cracking, and so that's why I take DIM and stuff, but it wouldn't be healthy to take Novadex year round. But man, I wish I could. And obviously, I mean, getting a period at like 9 days out, obviously my estrogen is super high, even though it looks normal on blood work. So that's kind of something that I've just learned that is a me thing.
Yeah. And also too, there's a lot of doctors, they don't even look at your estrogen or progesterone on the blood test. They're like, well, you're just somewhere in your cycle and female hormones fluctuate. Well, it's like, well, if I can tell you where I'm at in my cycle, can't we see if like it's a good ratio, like, or between then, or like if I'm in a part where my progesterone should be higher and it's like very low, like I just feel like regular doctors don't even look at it. They're like, okay. They just don't even. They just don't.
And it's a little scary because I go to the doctor now, and I feel like, because I don't work with an HRT clinic anymore, I basically just tell my doctor what my dose should be, and she sends it to a compound pharmacy, and it's up to me. Like she is not the one that's going to tell me like, oh, you should pre-test every few months. Like it's up to me to do that, which is just one of those things. It can be really hard to manage, and it's like you can't really trust anyone either because there's always new information. You just kind of have to figure it out for yourself. Like it's a never ending. I'm still learning. I'm glad that I'm learning more, but it's still confusing to me. So
no, it is. But everyone has their specialty too. Like recently, I was trying to get a referral to an endocrinologist, and I was denied because like my insulin and all that stuff is good, but I'm having like reactive hypoglycemia. But like I'm very insulin sensitive. All my markers are good. My A1C is good. All that stuff. But and so the endocrinologist said, no. But now I look back and I'm like, it's probably not that problem. But like if I went there, they would only be looking at one, organ or one system when really you have to look at a lot of different things. Like, for example, like, if you go to gastrologist, they're just going to look at your stomach when it might also be, the problem might be coming from some other hormonal imbalance or something else upstream or something. Like, it's just a lot.
Yeah. But I had a really bad experience at the endocrinologist this summer. It took me I waited for the appointment for 5 months, right?
Exactly. I
was super excited to go, and I was treated like, I'm a bodybuilder, told them my thyroid dose, and he treated me. The doctor was so rude to me. He was like, oh, you're on thyroid medicine. You might not even need it. I don't know how you sleep. You're basically just on a bunch of stims all day. And I was like, well, I test my blood and I go to a compound pharmacy. And he goes, well, my wife works at a compound pharmacy. I would never trust them. And the nurses were kind of like looking at him like they knew he was being rude. And I was like, well, what do you suggest I do then? He's like, well, we can schedule you to come back so that we can do like an ultrasound on your thyroid and see if you really need it. And I was just like, all right, whatever. So I scheduled that appointment and I ended up canceling it because it was like,
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, you know what, whatever. My mom just had her parathyroid removed. Every female like on my side of the family has it. I've been on thyroid medication now for 2 years and my hair is healthier. I don't feel as crazy with like the ups and downs. So clearly I do need
Mm-hmm.
it. I changed my dose though, like because it was too high at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's just something. Unfortunately, I thought
Right.
going to the doctor that specialized in that would be able to help me, but no, they kind of just like
Right.
treated me like I was
All
stupid.
right. We need to do an episode about this because when I was having this, I went to my normal doctor and she always acts like I am crazy, like I'm a hypochondriac or something because like, yeah, my blood work is healthy. You look at me like, oh, you're an athlete, like you're cardiovascularly healthy, my glucose is good, all this kind of stuff. Um, and like all like so a few months ago before that I came to her, so I was like, well, for just a regular checkup, and I was like, I have a lot of water retention, like this is not normal, like um you know I was on thyroid medicine, not anymore, and like she's was like, well, I can give you a diuretic for the water retention. And
That
then
was her
like
answer.
she was like, yeah, I'm like, maybe like an anxiety medicine. I'm like, I just like
That's
I'm telling you, I'm like, this is a symptom, and I could even just keep the symptom. I don't need the diuretic. Like, I want to know why. And now I go to a functional
yes.
medicine doctor. And she's amazing, and we've done all these other tests, and I'm not exactly still sure what the frick is wrong with me, but like I know we'll get there, and I know that she knows like she doesn't think I'm crazy, and I know where there's different way natural things we can implement, and if needed, we can do, like I can go actually back on thyroid medication and etc. Um, and it's been really, really great. But guess what? That's out of pocket. That's something I'm paying monthly for, plus treatment
Oh,
plans. And I'm very lucky that I can afford that. Um, and I just got this nice insurance. Well, it's not like crazy insurance, but I just got on Gary's insurance, so I should be able to like, go to a normal doctor and they help me. But that's just not how it is. And again, um, then the doctor, when I had the reactive hypoglycemia, I'm like, my blood sugar right now is like 50. It just dropped like from after eating. Like, it's not like, it's obviously not, she was like, well, we'll take your blood work about your insulin and stuff like that. But like, it's really hard to get to an endocrinologist if you don't have diabetes. And I'm like, so if I was, she sent the information over and I waited while I'm scared that I'm like, cause at this point I'm scared, like, I don't understand what's happening to me yet. So I'm like, am I just going to like just die? Like, even though I've been dealing with this for a long time, I didn't know it. But like, what if I just like pass out? Like, I was scared to travel, all that stuff, and it was really affecting my life. And like, I don't think she didn't like advocate for me very well. It didn't give the doctor, and maybe more information. I was denied from the endocrinologist. Now I'm just like, cool, because in my mind at that time I was like, well, there has to be something really wrong with my pancreas.
yeah.
Um, if this is happening, and now still don't really know, but it could just be all stress related and more of a autonomic type of thing where, which is I think I've gotten better. I don't use my glucose monitor anymore because it gives me too much anxiety seeing it just drop
Yeah.
all the time.
Drop.
But every time your blood sugar drops, your cortisol and your adrenaline brings it back up. So, and I do have high cortisol, I found out. So I don't know if it's from that or if my higher cortisol is causing that. And there's all these other things that are happening with like, lower thyroid, low estrogen, progesterone, um, and like gut dysbiosis and stuff like that, that all can cause stress and also can be caused by stress. Um, so I'm working on all those systems right now to try to get those a little bit better. And I do feel better. Like I'm not waking in the middle of the night, like having those low blood sugar crashes, which is good. But there is that fear inside me as like, I'm starting training again today, like a structured plan. I was kind of been piddling the last month,
Yeah.
but I am kind of scared with the stress of training. Am I ready to put that on my body? But I just need to remember, and I know I just kind of started talking about this, but I just need to remember that like how much I put my body through, and like I can handle like training, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been kind of like taking over my life really,
No,
and
that's a
it's
big
in
problem.
yeah, and
That
like I don't want to like. There's so much to that story too of like discovery and testing and stuff. I would love to go over on a different podcast just because
yeah.
it's like it'd be long, but it just goes to show too of um yeah, like when I'm like something is wrong, like,
Yes.
and the doctor doesn't believe you, and then I come back with evidence of like, oh, actually my blood sugar is dropping low, and she's like, well, it'd be hard for you to get an endocrinologist, but we can try, and then like it failed, and like there was no follow up or anything, and I'm like,
Well,
what does this person do? Luckily, I'm going to a different doctor, but like,
what you say is such a real problem. I'm going to use my mom as an example. She had heart surgery 2 years ago. Do you know how many doctor's appointments she had to go to because people were her lifetime primary care that she's been going to like half her life said, "Oh, it's probably just anxiety."
yeah,
Here's and they were trying to give her anxiety medication. She's like, "No, I'm telling you, like my heart is palpitating and waking me up at night." This she's like, "I've been under stress." She's like, "I have kids, I've had divorces, I've had a husband that tried to kill me." She's like, "It's not anxiety." and
no, I
they were
know. I mean,
just
like
like,
I
yeah. And I'm
well, I
like,
was
thank
kind of like,
God
why can't
she,
yeah.
yeah. I'm like, thank God, she, like, you are fighting for it because it's like, what if that went undetected and she just died? Like, it's like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
but like my heart goes out to her too because you know that she was going to these appointments, getting tests done, having to wait for the test, go have to wait to go to another doctor, and like that's like what I've been doing is waiting for test after test and test, and then not really having like totally like clear answers, like some, you know, I don't because like I'll do anything to any change I need to make, I'll make. I don't know the
Yeah.
exact change. And, is it something with under eating and under recovery? Is it something with my thyroid? Is it something with cortisol? Is it um, my gut being messed up? What is, um, I just don't want something to be the total root cause to be something scary, right? Like some kind of condition or whatever I'm unaware of. But it really, what I'm kind of just trying to come to terms with now is like maybe I was just really stressed and everything compounded, and my body was reacting to that, and that it can affect your adrenals, can affect your blood sugar. Just mine, I'm very highly insulin sensitive because I'm an athlete, and also I had a nutrition coach that had me on like 100 grams of carbs while I was prepping for strongman shows. So like, believe me, I'm very carb sensitive. It's not that I'm insulin resistant. It's that my body overshoot reacts, and like I'll have a little bit of carbs, my body produces or shoot out insulin, and my muscles are while my muscles are soaking everything up, and everything just kind of sucks everything up at once. And I end up with lower blood sugar after I eat. And so someone's going to say, my first advice was like, oh, like lower carb, higher fat, high fiber, when that's more of an answer for someone who needs to make more lifestyle modifications with less carbs, that's causing
Yeah,
it.
like if they're
So,
overweight and stuff.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and that's, and that I end up messing up my gut more because I have low pancreatic enzymes and I can't break down like the fiber and the fat. So I just ended up like so bloated and uncomfortable. So it's been a journey, but I'm starting to feel
I get
better.
it.
But I'm also scared that it's going to, worse. Because looking back, I'm like, remember when I passed out before nationals and stuff like that in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Like I was having those like night episodes then. And, when I was at the Arnold, like going up to the bar to the trap bar deadlift, like I felt like I had just no energy in my legs. Like I just like could barely move. It's because I was low blood sugar. When I was training for the Arnold, there would be times I'd be sitting there and my heart would be racing, like just like standing up. and we look
Yeah, no,
really
I remember we were
random.
talking about it.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is going on? So I don't, I don't know if it was, it's like there's so many things that it could be. But it just goes to show too, it's like if it was just all the stress, and my, adrenals being a little messed up, and maybe I'm more sensitive to those kind of things. And maybe my stress response is with the reactive hypoglycemia, just goes to show if like you're feeling, um, we're not robots or superhuman, like eventually something will give. I was able to really push myself hard for nationals and succeed, but pushing myself, like I was not in a healthy place to push myself even further for even heavier show while I had a lot of stress in my life. And so like, the listen to your body thing is true. And also like, there's going to be more shows. Like you can chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, recently had a client like that where she pulled out of nationals because she was like almost getting an injury. She had just moved. She was going through a lot of stress and lost her period and stuff. And it was kind of like, hey, like, this is not worth it. Like, believe me,
Signs.
like you're not even going to do to your potential at all anyway. So what's the point? And we had that conversation, and I'm glad we did because it took her a while to feel better, but now she feels better. But I'm like, man, you could have ended up like me,
Yeah, I
and
know.
that's just one of my theories. I don't know, but starting to feel better, so that's good.
Good.
But it's so scary when you're going through that because the
It is.
physical and the mental are so intertwined. And let's say if your heart's racing, that feels like anxiety, or if you have anxiety, that feels like you're having a heart attack. So it's like, which one is it? Um, so especially with
Yeah.
low blood sugar, that
That.
feels very panic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I had. I can relate obviously to the health issue thing because we talked about it because we were kind of, we kind of like switched. Like when you were healthy and
yeah,
feeling good, and then I
yeah,
wasn't. So
yeah.
it's actually, and it just goes back to like being your own advocate of health because I
hmm
had from mid-January this year until like middle of May, I was struggling with my skin so bad to the point where like I hadn't felt that depressed in like years. Like I couldn't believe
Yeah.
I hit a low like that, and I was felt like I was doing everything, like looking at every single supplement that I stopped. I was on that bulk, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have any sugar, any refined carbs. Like, what can I change? Because I was going to the doctor. I went to the dermatologist because I had really bad bacne randomly. Like I wasn't on anything. It was after my show. It was so, so bad. And I had struggled with bacne when I first got my period in like fourth grade for a couple of years. So it was really triggering because I was reminded of like feeling like a little kid that got in trouble for
Yeah.
like looking like that, dirty, ugly, all that. And Anthony was really supportive. Like he put creams on me every night, but I was so upset because I went to the doctor and she put me on a couple things. So at first, she said the placement of it looked hormonal. And I said, that's kind of interesting because usually hormonal is around the jawline or top of the shoulders, arms. It was more just like, it was all over my back, but it was really, really centered, like middle, lower.
Right.
Like it didn't make much sense. So she put me on a dose of an antifungal medication because no, excuse me, let me rewind. First, she put me on aldactone, which is a blood pressure medication and a diuretic, but it also has been shown to help with some hormonal issues. So I was like, okay, I hate to take something like that, but I'll try it. It didn't really, I was on it for like a week, didn't really do anything. I was not feeling good on it because it messed with like, it's a blood pressure medication. So like when I was lifting and
hmm
like put my head
Right.
down, I felt like I was going to pass out. And then I woke up one morning and it's actually permanently like this. I don't know if you'll see on the camera, but my right side, I have like, see these knuckles compared to like my left one?
hmm
I woke up one morning and I felt like there's that movie with Demi Moore. Have you seen it? The Substance?
Oh no, but I heard it was good.
Okay, yes, you should watch it. So I felt like I had just watched that movie and I woke up and I was like, oh my God, it's The Substance because my
Oh
hand was
no.
huge. It was huge and it hurt. And I was like, the hell? So I was like, the only thing I've changed is the aldactone, so I'll stop taking it. I stopped taking it. It started to go down a little bit, but then I went back to the doctor and told her, and she was like, oh yeah, you're definitely allergic to aldactone. To get that out of your system, I'll prescribe you prednisone. And prednisone is a corticosteroid that a lot of people I know have taken it for various reasons. I know people that have taken it with back flare-ups, and there's good and bad. I was so scared to take it, but she said it would definitely clear up my acne because if it's a fungal infection or whatever kind of infection is, it will clear it up. So I took that. It was a 5-day course of the prednisone, and my skin was getting worse. Yes, it made my hand a little bit better, but it made my skin worse. So then I went back, and then she brought in another doctor, and the doctor looked at the pattern, and the doctor was like, oh, well, you can see from the patterning that it's actually a fungal infection. So everything you're treating her hormonally and all the washes and all like the topicals I was using isn't going to do anything. She prescribed me an antifungal medication. And I feel like it maybe started to get a little bit better, but not like totally. And so then I went back and she was like, okay, well, you're just going to have to stay on it like permanently because, you know, you took it for a week and some people, especially like teenagers, when they have it, need to just stay on it. So I was staying on it, but I was, all right, at this point, like I knew I needed to get a second opinion. So I had another appointment lined up at a different dermatologist, but like any doctor's appointment, I think I had to wait like 8 weeks to get in. So I went to this doctor, you know, had my history written out, showed them all the pictures. And at this point, my back is still really bad. And keep in mind, like this is causing me, not only am I having to pay like thousands of dollars out of pocket to go to the dermatologist every time because my insurance doesn't cover it, I'm losing modeling jobs. I'm not wanting to leave my house. My body, which is part of my income and my brand, I'm covering up. Like I live in Las Vegas and I'm having to wear long sleeves all the time. It really like was really getting to me. So I go to this doctor. The first thing they do is they test my skin. They were like, did your other dermatologist not test to see if this was fungal? And I was like, no. And they were like, so you're taking an antifungal medication and they didn't test your skin. And I was like, yes, I didn't even know that you could test the
Right.
skin. So they took, you know, like a piece of my skin, sent it back. They were like, we'll call you in a couple of days when we get the results. They called me. They were like, stop taking the antifungal. It's not a fungus infection. It's a bacteria infection. So they gave me an antibiotic called Bactrim. They said it was a very, very, very strong antibiotic. If I was allergic to it, they said I would know within a day, stop taking it. And I was nervous because I feel like I'm very sensitive to medication, but yeah. I'm not kidding. My back went from bad to started fading within like 48 hours. So, and then in like a week, it was pretty much all cleared up. And then I went back, you know, I'm like crying, I'm like thanking them. And then for the last couple of like because it was like cystic acne. For the last couple of cystic acne, they did an injection to get rid of those ones. And then my back was pretty much back to normal. And luckily I didn't get much scarring at all, actually. I don't know how. I think it was just because I was like diligent with putting like retinols and topicals. And I did like a laser treatment after. Again, like thousands. I think I haven't saved because I'm trying to do a lawsuit. I spent over $7,000 on it.
Oh my god!
And not to mention,
remember that time.
Yeah. Luckily, my hand. It's not a big deal that like my knuckles are bigger. It doesn't really bother me. But like, I'm just glad that I wasn't like deathly allergic to that. So.
Oh my gosh, I remember that time too because you know, it's one of those things too. It's like you can't really explain to someone else how like it makes you feel. Like for me, I'm like, oh, it's okay. Like you look fine. Like it's bacne, you know, like, but like, if it's something too you can't figure out and you feel like you also are spending all this time and money, resources, and someone gave you the wrong, like, you know, and I felt like this before too with like certain doctors or certain medications, like gave you the wrong course of action. You're like, wow, all that time I could have been like actually treating it. And
I know.
You know,
because it was
like it wasn't that hard.
It was affecting my training because when I would sit on something, like it hurt really bad. And, you know, even at like your wedding, it was starting to fade, but like I had to have Anthony like use like some Sally Hansen spray pantyhose makeup all over my back because I'm so fair skinned. I'm so fair skinned like you too. If you touch me like this, I get red. So like the fact that I had the flare ups and stuff, you know, I just didn't want to leave the house. It was like
I'm only laughing right now because like you just like triggered flashbacks. So I would use Sally Hansen on my legs in high school. That was
Yeah,
so funny, or like middle school even, because like we wore little school skirts. So that's so funny. Just
but
because that triggered that memory. But yeah, that does not sound fun. But I'm glad that
but
I got all figured out.
I know, me too.
Maybe by the end of this year, I'll have my stuff figured out. And
I think you will. It's still
what's
2
cool
months.
too is because like I feel like this has been like keeping me away from certain goals that I have, like just in the background. Like everything's just been it's so much harder, right? Like it's like hard to stay leaner. It's hard to like obviously if my blood sugar is dropping in my training, like and I'm not recovering well or not sleeping well, like this is like been holding me back. And also more brain fog and all that stuff. I think that once if I figure it out, it'll unlock a better quality of life and just better performance overall. So, but those kind of things really puts things in perspective of what's important to you. Like, I kind of went through the same phase of like, okay, like where you have to face maybe not be able to do what you want to do again. Like the same thing with the back injury of like, okay, well, I might not be able to compete competitively in strongman anymore, but it's important for me to get to a place where I can train, or maybe I just want to be able to travel without anxiety and have a cappuccino in Italy with Gary and not be scared of low blood sugar. So it definitely like those kind of things do put things in perspective. And also I know I've had that feeling before of like hopelessness, like this might be the end, but getting to the acceptance of, okay, it might be the end. What if? But also I've been through this before where I thought it was the end too. And like I came out better. So, um, you know, these experiences suck, but definitely I think make us better empathetic people, more grateful for you like actually being able to wear whatever you want or like not being have your back being pain. And like for me is like just driving down the road without like being scared is like makes me a little bit more appreciative, like, oh, I
Yeah.
actually like my heart's not racing when my blood sugar's dropping low while I'm just doing everyday things. So like it does put things in perspective, but like, I still have hope that this could unlock and become a good thing I went through. And because maybe I'll figure out what has been going on for a few years or my
Exactly.
life. I don't
I'm
know.
so happy we're talking about this too because, a lot of people that know us in the strength community and, clients that look up to us, it's like because we have a business, we often put on this face and we put ourselves out on social media a certain way that to be vulnerable and talk about this, like I highly doubt anyone knew you were struggling with like trying not to pass out or your heart racing when you were prepping for the Arnold. And like same thing with me, like I highly doubt. Like I remember, like when I would tell people at the gym, like what I was going through, they'd be like, "Oh, but you're so pretty. It doesn't." And I'm like, "Yes, maybe you think that, but like you don't know how ugly this is making me feel when like all I can feel is the pain of like
Right.
the acne." So I think it's important to talk about because people sometimes like
Yeah.
that's the hard part of
Well,
social
yeah.
media.
And
Sometimes you
it's
forget.
been hard. It's been really hard for me to show up on social media too, or, without feeling like an imposter, right? Like if I'm not, training or able to figure out my health, I'm like, how do you help someone else with their health? And I know that's not true, but it's just been a little bit harder because I don't want to put negativity out there either. And also I don't like to put things out while I'm going through it as well. Like I'd rather be like, hey, I went through this and this was the solution rather than like, I'm struggling right now. I'm scared, um, of the unknown. Cause also I don't want clients to think that I'm like literally like out here struggling, trying to get their programs done. Like, I'm not in like a life or death situation. It's just something that's affecting me.
Yeah.
It's making things harder. Um, so yeah, but but now like I'm able to talk about it more because I feel like I see the light a little bit. So it's like it's easier to talk about like now, like on the podcast at least. But there's good days and bad days. Like I cried the other day leaving the gym and um because I was trying to deadlift and I was just like did not feel good and you know, but there's a lot less of those days now, so that's good.
Good. Okay, now for the last little bit, since we had kind of a down
Yeah.
section, do you have any? So you've been on a couple of vacations this year, the honeymoon. Do you have any, like, what was your favorite memory or any funny traveling moments? Just kind of anything that's a little more
Oh my
fun
gosh.
to end on.
Yeah. Well, we've had so many fun trips this year. But it was, I guess, okay. So we went to Madeira and the Azores for a honeymoon, and we recently went to Iceland, which was freaking awesome. But this is like almost like a honeymoon horror story, just because it was like honestly the best trip ever, like of my life. But like normally I try to like be pretty minimalistic. Like we only bring one bag on a trip that we
That's
share,
amazing.
and like even if it's like a 14-day trip, and I bought like all these like cute little things, and they were like we're hiking and stuff, but it was still like clothes I want to feel better in. It was still our honeymoon, and I had like so I actually bought some things for our honeymoon so I could have like cute new hiking clothes, some swimsuits, and our luggage was lost for like 5 days. And so like I was like
It
so
always
on our
happens to
honeymoon.
you.
I know. So I'm like washing my underwear in like the sink and like drying it every day, like looking haggard. But it was really fun. I know you're like a funny light story, but it just reminded me of like, of course, like during the honeymoon, like that happens. But that was like a saga. It ended up our luggage was ended up in Lisbon, Portugal, and like Gary almost bought a ticket to go fly there and then get our luggage and come back because like it wasn't moving, and then suddenly it just like showed up in Madeira like the day before we left. So I was like, yes, thank goodness. So that's my travel story. But I remember like it was probably people saw me on Instagram, and I was like asking if anyone like lived in Portugal and like could like go to the airport to like check to see if our bags were there. Um, but it was, I would say if you want to go somewhere ever to travel, go to Madeira. It was so cool.
Yeah, it looked insane. I love your
Okay,
travels.
what about you? What's your fun story? That was my horror story
Yeah, that
for
was your
before
horror story.
Halloween. I know. I was like, well, when I saw that on like the outline, I was like, I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, what's my like funny story that I could tell? I'm like, honestly, I can't remember. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of little funny things, but nothing like notable. I mean, yeah, nothing for, well, yeah, nothing of recent. I have a really embarrassing one, but I can tell a different day.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear that. I feel like I didn't really have any embarrassing or content feel fails or anything that I could think of, but I guess like something that was a good story was kind of I went home in July, like prep had just started, and I did a photo shoot at Good Harbor Beach, which was my favorite place growing up. So I moved to Gloucester 5th grade summer, and that was just a place I would go to kind of feel calm. And I don't know, I love the ocean. So I did a photo shoot there, and I've never done one there before, which was really cool. And I kind of remember just I had listened to this song that I used for my posing before. And I remember I loved that song because when I was in Australia one day, same thing, doing like a sunrise photo shoot beach. I remember I was at this like weird time in my life where I felt really heartbroken because the story. I went there to meet up with a guy, and
Hmm.
then I found out like he ghosted me and he was actually married. But I was like, it's fine. I'm still in a beautiful part of the world, like doing this alone. Like I have, feet I can walk with, and I've just moved cross country. Like I feel like I like survived all these things, and I'm still going, even though the odds were stacked against me. So doing that photo shoot at Good Harbor and like hearing that song, I just felt like for the first time in my life, I was really in a good spot, especially coming off like my acne was just starting to fade. I was like feeling good about myself again. And it just kind of reminded me like, okay, no matter what age you are or how good your life is, like there are always going to be up and down seasons. And I just was really trying to like breathe in the air and like just feel good because now I kind of have this. I don't know if it makes me a little bit jaded, but like when I feel good, I know it's not gonna last. Like that's just not how life
Yeah.
works. So I was kind of just enjoying it. I
Hmm.
was like, okay, let this good season come because tomorrow isn't promised, I guess. So that was kind of cool to just have that realization, because usually when you feel good, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to ride this. I'm going to
Yeah.
feel good forever. And now it's just kind of like, nope, this is definitely temporary.
Yeah.
So I'm going to enjoy it.
No, I can totally relate, because I used to always, when things were good, get more anxious because I don't want to lose this. So now you just realize
Yes.
it comes and goes, and you should just like enjoy, the moment, everything. So that was a great story. That's better than my my story.
No, I loved it.
My luggage was lost. I mean, I'll think of a better story next time. But so much has happened this year. I can't even. So much. It's
I know.
crazy.
It's been. But we have some really good guests lined up. I'm excited for this season. If anyone knows, so Christy and I took a little break. We were trying to get some sponsors too. Obviously, we do this podcast because we love it. Like, we don't make any money on it, but it's the chance to connect, hear stories. I always am in a really good mood after it, even if it is like more work on our plate. It's something that is rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
So that feels really good. But if anyone knows of any, sponsors or anything, let us know. We have some really cool guests lined up this season. Like, I'm really shocked at some of the guests we're having on. So
yeah, it's gonna be really good. I'm really excited. It just goes to show like how, I don't know. I was like, we know some really cool people. Like,
yeah,
like I feel like we like I get used to how like sometimes I get used to just how like interesting the people I know are, or like accomplished or smart. I'm just like, oh, like I'm like, wait, that's like these. This is pretty cool. Like, you don't, these are people with so much expertise and like have accomplished and done so many crazy things. But like, it's just really cool. I can't believe they're coming on our podcast. So it'll be fun.
I know. So thank you guys for listening. Definitely share this episode with someone that might be having like a health issue that you know about, that's struggling to find the answers and pissed off at their doctor, because that's normal. So yeah, share this, rate our podcast, and make sure you follow us on Barbells, Business, and Boobs. And then you can read the description. I'm sure you already follow Christy and I, but if you don't, you should. So see you guys soon.
Bye. All right.
It says stopping. I don't know why it's not stopped.
Well, yeah, stop being at least.
Hopefully.
So I'm going to refresh the page in the tree. Well, it says I'm just not going to touch it because it says.
Yeah, I'll just leave it there. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. Because
yours is okay. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it open. I'll stop the camera, but I'll just leave it open.
Yeah, I'm not going to X out of
it. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not. I'm just going to let it do its thing. So that was a long one. Yeah, because it says yours 99%, mine's 78%. Mine's said, oh, yours did? Okay, that's good. Mine still says 2 seconds until uploaded, but yeah, I'll just leave. I don't know. Yours says it's good, right? Or did it say? Okay. All right, but are you gonna press the red leave button, or are you gonna just disconnect your camera? I don't even know. Because like leave studio or. Okay, it should be fine. Yeah, yours says upload. Mine says uploading. 1 second. So I'll just, you can leave. I'll stay here and yeah. Oh, it does. Okay, cool. Yay. Alrighty. Okay. All right. Cool. Right. Okay. Yeah. The best clip.